Mike, you are now a co-host on that.
There we
go.
Are you now running the Zoom? Okay, you ought to be able to hear me now. Although I'm going to put this on mute shortly. But I should be able to hear you. Let me know if you think we're ready. I can. Well, I don't think we have a quorum yet. Can you unmute and make sure I can hear you?
I'm speaking. Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now.
I'm going to mute myself.
How do we?
Could you mute
Is this the only?
Colleen's?
So this is the working session, right?
Yep.
And
We're all set. We're going to get going. Seeing it is 6:38 on Wednesday, August 25th. Welcome to the planning board meeting. This meeting is being televised by Chelmsford Telemedia and is being conducted in person in room 204 of the town offices. We will continue with Zoom component links for the public until further notice. This is the work session, 6:30 to 7. I'll give you the call-in number, and I'll state it again later. The call-in number is going to be 929-205-6099. We're going to start with a work session, master plan review chapters, open space, recreation, cultural, natural. There we go. And Bylaw discussion continued. All right, so we want to start off with the master plan.
Yeah,
Why not? Can I take an, all right, so master plan went to, it's come from a committee to us that have worked it over, mulled it
Right.
over, went back and forth.
Right.
All you're looking for us to do is, I mean, this is suggestions. This is nothing that's,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get it out there, be totally front with everybody. This is suggestions, this is not law.
no, this is suggestions, not law. However, the master plan does get issued by the planning board.
I understand.
So
I'm just
we
trying
have to at least
how-
bless it.
Support it.
How depth in detail are we getting at this point, other than giving it a high overview? I just don't think we need to do.
No, we don't have to do a
We
deep
really
dive.
shouldn't be changing.
Unless there's something in there that this board disagrees with strongly, that they don't want to see in there. Yeah, I agree with you.
But even if we get even if we're trying to, like, you know,
Yeah.
dogs run free everywhere.
Yeah.
You know.
Good idea,
you know,
good idea.
Whatever, I mean,
Is that true?
no, but I mean, we never have to bring that to fruition.
No, we never actually have to bring it to
You know,
fruition.
we-
You're right. Nothing in there is binding, notwithstanding comments of a number of people in town at various points.
I understand. I'm
tend to
just
bring
trying
it
to
up.
make that perfectly
Yeah.
clear with everybody.
It's
We're not
absolutely
trying to
clear, yeah.
rewrite this.
Nope, we're not trying to rewrite it.
We're trying to get
just
the
trying
concept?
approve, get the concept and approve it, if you
Because
will.
all I did was a very
Yeah, that's,
high-end,
I think that's all we need to do.
brief through it.
Right. It's
And-
basically, like you said, just supporting it.
Right, supporting it. Now, I mean, I'm digging in a little deeper, but I'm on the committee. So, I mean,
I hope so then.
that's my,
Hopefully
my
you would have dug in
excuse, and I'm
deeper
sticking to it.
when you were, before you brought it to us.
Yeah, well, I think we got it pretty close to right. I bet you Evan would agree.
Is Evan on?
Yeah, Evan's here, but he's muted.
So the only question I
Hasn't
have.
started yet, Evan.
The only question I have is about, on the goals on the right-hand side.
Paul McDougal's running 15 minutes late.
Okay, thank you.
You know the goals on the right-hand side
Yes.
of each section, the summary?
Yeah.
Were those updated? Or are those still 2010 goals that, because I've noticed on a couple of other sections that we haven't gotten to yet, it still talks about goals from 2010 that are on the right-hand side highlighted?
This was supposed to be
It just-
not a rewrite of the
Not a
whole.
rewrite,
Yeah.
but-
Right. But if it's unclear, we should say so and make sure that, I mean, that's an editing
what I
issue
mean,
more than anything else. And if it's unclear, that's something we ought to flag to the committee and to Evan and to NEMCOG and say, you know, do something in there in the wording to make it clear that these are current.
Like we were on one was I looked at the economic development piece
Yeah.
and it talked about developing Route 40
Yeah.
area, interchange.
That's,
then-
that's gone.
But further,
That's fine.
but that was in the summary, but in the actual article, it talked about how it went to town meeting, there was a committee, it updated correctly. But on the summary section,
Okay, then that's got to be fixed in the
that
summary
should be
section.
modified.
That's an
'cause-
editing.
Because probably by the end of this year or early next year, that whole interchange
Is
will
it
be
should-
residential,
Right. Or something, yeah,
Or-
it'll be.
One side of it will be,
one side of
Part
it.
of it. Yeah, exactly.
So it just, that's all I was just saying. I
Well,
saw
if you
that.
see stuff like that, note it, get it to the committee.
Yeah, that's fine. All
Yeah,
right, we'll do
and
that.
I
I
hope
think we should
Evan's
look at
taking
it. I
notes
think
on
we
this.
should continue to look at it.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't want to see the committee do all this work and not us look at it.
right. No,
I agree, but I'm just like,
Yeah,
how, you know, if you sat on that committee for the last year and a half and we started rewriting
Oh, yeah.
they're not gonna be,
No, I don't want to rewrite it.
Oh, I don't know, worse things have happened to me, you know.
Hey, if you guys can hear me, you are live, but the
Yep.
sound is off.
The sound is off. Well, we
I can
should
see all of you
probably turn
smiling
the
at me.
sound on.
How do we do that, Colleen?
just sounded like you came on.
Oh, she can't hear us, right?
I don't know sign
All
language.
right, let me text Colleen.
Deirdre
Find
probably
out.
What it's worth, the sound is actually on. We can hear you out here.
Well, we
I
can hear,
can
it's
hear-
just Colleen that can't hear us? Oh,
I can hear you.
Oh, good.
good. It's just you, Colleen.
Hello, Nancy.
Hello there.
She's probably got the
Do we have
set off on her
tablets?
computer.
Some technical, still setting up.
Yes, you do have
so-
tablets.
I won't ask.
Yes, you do. Okay, so is there anybody that's on Zoom? Deidre, do you have any comments on the master plan? Can we unmute her?
She's unmuted, she just talked.
No, she's,
Oh, get off
She
there.
has to, well, I can unmute her.
you're,
Alright,
yeah.
I have a couple minor edits, but I'll just forward them along to, I don't know, Nancy or Mike or George, but it's nothing substantive, significant.
Yeah, if you would copy Evan on those as well, then we'll get them in. I found a few last round, so.
Okay, excellent. So basically, everyone's on the same
Yeah.
plan there. If you see something, send it to you guys.
Yeah, and we'll get it into the document. Now, we did, let's see, the first round, which one did we look at?
The first one.
Open space,
Open
right?
space.
Yeah, open space.
This time around, I think we were gonna look at 3 others, potentially.
Open space, rec, culture, and natural.
And frankly, I looked at them and I've been kind of living with them. So some of the chapters I'm more familiar with than others because I actually did a lot of work on them. Did anybody see anything in any of those 3 chapters other than edits? Anything substantive?
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it's
All of
interesting.
them were very interesting.
There's a lot of detailed information in there. And, maybe the best way to read that is sometimes if you have a particular interest, go to that chapter and spend some time with it. But,
Evan, do you have anything on this for us? Well, yeah, wait while you get set up, and
That's okay.
if you have anything, or if you want to chime
I've
in.
been part of that committee, so.
Okay, so you're all set then. Paul,
Nothing.
welcome, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Just got off the boat, I guess. Do you have any?
No, I've been working. No, I have nothing. I
Okay.
went through it and
Yeah.
All right, so,
a lot of information, that's all I'll say.
There is. Now, there
And
is
I think
a,
I'm gonna read it again and maybe I'll
Yeah.
come up with something.
Yeah, on the-
A lot to
No, I
absorb.
can't.
on the open space stuff, we did add some stuff having to do with agriculture. There's some slightly new material there.
It's all good, right?
I think it's all good.
Yeah.
I wrote a bunch of it.
so just continue, if
Yeah.
any edits,
Yeah.
send them off to you guys and Evan, and we're going to continue to.
Okay, now, we're coming up, there are a couple of chapters that are pretty heavy. And perhaps we should pick the next chapter to look at. All of
We
it,
should at this point for the next.
right, for the next one.
Your recommendation.
Evan, do you have a suggestion as to the next chapter we ought to review?
This chapter.
I think they're all going to bleed together. So I think it's going to be difficult to pick one and read one and focus on that, on just one chapter moving forward.
Yeah, maybe the economic development one might be,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, his
Yeah.
chapter, basically.
yeah.
I mean, you can give it a shot, but,
Well, you're right, they do bleed together, and that's intentional.
yep.
All right, let's look at the economic development chapter
Okay.
in detail.
Very long. right?
It is very long, and it's thick.
All right. Okay. All right, does anybody else on the board have anything else with the master
Put you
plan?
Here, you're the
She likes this. No? Okay, seeing none, you want to move on to Pilo? We do have our homework for
Yeah.
next, it's going to be the economic development review. Turn up.
Oh, the knob right there.
the knob. All right, was that a little better? Okay.
Okay. All right, next up, the Pylo discussion continued.
Yeah, I think, well,
Go
I
ahead.
have to talk.
No,
Let
please
other people
do.
talk.
Well, you were the one that wrote the thing originally.
I wasn't the Pylo guy. I thought that was you.
No, that was definitely you.
Was it? It was my fault.
If you can't remember it, it's time for you to move on.
Yeah, retired of my easy chair. I think we covered most of it last time around, which was more a matter of procedure. The one thing we need to do is decide whether we want to recommend or implement changes to the actual Pylo amount that the bylaw.
I think Hedison was pretty good with what he said. Yeah,
Yeah.
We asked him to kind of give us a guidance on that, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I looked at that
He did send us an email.
Yeah.
chapter and that 120 odd pages of.
Yeah, I read the,
There's a lot of stuff in that, and I'm not sure what it concluded at the end in terms, it give you more ideas about the range of possibilities than about what number we ought to
for
pick.
Chelmsford, yeah.
Yeah,
The fact, though, knowing that there are options, other options
Yeah.
too, I thought was interesting, that we didn't know, right? That we could also collect at the end too, if,
We can also, there's a bunch of different things we can do.
right, so Evan, I hopefully you can chime in on this. So how do we get going to continue to move forward with this and to implement this? Does that mean adding to the existing, or do we have to?
I don't know. I think that all that really needs to happen to the bylaw is that we all are, I mean, it basically sets up a particular amount, actually, I think, or a couple of particular amounts, depending on what's being built. And I think we just need to decide whether we're comfortable with the numbers that are presented there, or we want to have a different number or formulation. I think it's just a matter of changing numbers, if we want to.
Implementing.
I mean, implementation is something else, and we talked about that last
Keep the
time.
same number, but implement it.
Could we
But
do
actually
this,
implement
and we'll go around and let everyone speak, but my thought is too, is maybe setting a deadline or, for next meeting, coming back with our ideas, how we want to move forward with it, and then trying to put it into play.
Well, the else is ask everybody what they think right now. Run it around.
Yeah, I mean,
That's fine, yeah, if you want to do that. Deidre, do you have anything?
I would say that the incremental implementation that we discussed last time sounds like a appropriate way to implement it. So as a unit gets occupied, the money flows over. And I think there also should be the requirement of some initial amount, whether it's 20% or something at the acceptance of the plan, maybe. I don't know. We should figure out if that's something we want to do and an
Usually
amount.
it's with acceptance of when the building permit is.
Yeah. And then the other thing is my thought is that the amount, since we haven't ever, or maybe just once, collected the amount, I'm hesitant to raise the amount, though I think you could make a good case to raise the amount. But I think maybe we should just start with the same amount and actually collect it. And then maybe make a plan to revisit after, 3 permits or some amount of permits or some amount of time to reassess if we think the amount should be changed.
Okay. We'll start with Paul.
So I think what she's proposing is fair to both the developer and the town. Phase in the payment. So he could get stuck 50% occupied.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just another added burden to him if he had to pay. You know what I mean? So it's kind of safeguarding him and the town. I think it's a good idea.
Okay, so deposit and then.
I agree with
Then
everything.
payments as they go.
I think this has we have the flexibility that we always wanted, because I can hear what Deirdre's saying, and I can think of one place that's gonna come that people are gonna really want developed, which is the Oddfellows.
Yeah.
And that's the discussion that we're gonna have to have. Do we want the full payment in lieu of for the Oddfellows if it makes it unfeasible? But this is the same thing that we've dealt with forever, and we're gonna have this conversation every time.
Right.
But I honestly believe we need to be tougher on the money. Whether we, every time you get to one of these is always something.
Right.
And we just have to decide, we don't want, forget the pocket park, forget this, forget that. The center of town's always the tricky spot. And it always has been. And the number of units that are being developed. And if they come in and they say one number and they say the other, and that's why I really think some of the board members we need to be down the road first, but I wouldn't want to increase the numbers right now as far as what we do, and if you want to look at it later, look at it later. The bylaw allows us to do it.
Yeah.
Anytime somebody throws up their hand and says, let's talk about it, pretty much. I'm done.
Okay, thanks, Henry. The thing is, I thought that's how we've been doing it. I mean, they've been presenting it, and we've been reducing it because of certain things.
I think we need to be a little stiffer on our end.
Right, and that, I think we're all in agreement on
But
that.
that's a procedural question, not a question of the
And
In
I-
other
bylaw.
words, we're not
and
gonna
that-
make a change.
and as-
except for
as-
maybe collecting 20%, 20%.
That, I think,
Yeah, that would help, but the Oddfellows is gonna be a tough one.
No, I get what you're saying now.
Well, but we would have the ability, as we've already discussed. Okay, Mike,
Oddfellows would be a tough one.
No, I agree. I'm not going to add anything really more
Okay.
to that, but I agree.
yeah,
with
I
what
completely
you guys said.
agree with Deirdre. And I would ask Evan, do we need to do anything either in regulation or in bylaw to implement the staged payment, or is that within our purview completely as it stands now?
As discussed at the last meeting with council, the board can pursue the new approach as part of your hearing and decision.
Okay.
If the board wanted to go back to town meeting to codify that and make it law, you could do that as well.
I think this is probably something better handled as a procedural question. But I agree that we ought to do that.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, so as I indicated to the board at the last meeting, I have already emailed notification to 9 Acton Road. I have not heard back from them, but they are aware of the board's new procedure related to Bylaw.
Thanks.
Thank you. Nance?
I don't have anything to add to what Henry had.
Okay.
I'm on board with that.
In that case, we're basically done. We've
Yeah.
reached our conclusion
Yeah,
as to how to handle Pilo, and it sounds as if community development has taken those procedural tweaks and run with it, so
okay.
we're done.
All right, that sounds great. All right, so we can now move on. It is 6:56.
I'll give it a minute.
Start the regular meeting at 7, or you?
Yeah, if it's advertised, it's at 7. We
Yeah, so
can't start
we'll wait a
early.
few more minutes, and then we'll start the regular meeting.
Well, can we do
Yeah,
minutes?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's start, minutes, we'll start on 5:12. Let's, everybody get a chance to look at the meeting minutes from 5:12?
That was the
And
one
if
we
so,
originally had
have any
before.
changes, edits? And if not, can we get a motion?
Motion to approve minutes?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Abstain.
5:13, 21, everybody get a chance, any edits? If no edits, could we get a motion?
I move to approve the minutes of 5:13.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye.
One abstain on both so far. 5:19, meeting minutes. Everybody get a chance? Any edits? Please say so. If not, can I get a motion?
A motion to approve minutes for.
Second.
All in favor?
5:19.
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
One abstain. 7/14/21.
What happened to June?
I can only do what's in front of me.
Yeah.
Do we, Evan or Colleen, can you comment on June?
I expressed last meeting that that was part of a Freedom of Information Act, and it was requested to be done first. So I got that done. You might as well approve them.
I'm confused.
Where are they?
What?
Where are they?
Where are they?
Did we see them?
Did we already approve them?
No, they were part of a Freedom of
Yeah, I got that part.
Information request. So they've been sent out in a draft form. But I was requested to get them done. So that's why it's out of order.
Okay, I get that, but does June come to us for approval? Or when
Yes.
does it come?
Yes,
Okay.
next meeting, they'll be June and likely July.
Okay. All right, so, back to 7:14. Anybody have any edits, changes? If not, can I have a motion?
Motion to approve minutes. for-
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Nance? You abstaining, or you,
I don't know.
all right.
It reads like a book. And I'm not sure that that's appropriate for minutes.
So noted.
So I guess I'm voting no.
One no. And
No, there
do you
was
want to
nothing.
mention your comments so that we can maybe get this corrected for next time? Or your concerns? Because I would rather,
My concerns is that these minutes are not consistent with the minutes that we normally publish.
okay.
They literally read like a book.
Yep. Okay, so that's so noted, Evan and Colleen. Also, just to mention, I did have a conversation with Evan about they're working to improve,
Yeah.
some of the way things have been happening, operations per se, so hopefully that we'll have stuff like this corrected.
Can we put that on our next work session to talk about?
Yeah.
Sure, Evan or Colleen, and I'm not sure why no one's up here, Evan or Colleen, I guess I don't know why, but it would be good to have someone there, or can you guys just acknowledge for the next work session, can we please have that? Specifically, Henry, what would you like for a topic? Operations? meeting-
Operations, yeah, meeting operations. I mean, I think the board has a few deficiencies, and
That's correct.
staff may, and we need to,
Okay. And again, even the way we're operating right now, I don't even know where I'm looking, or there you are, Evan. Can you, so can you put this on for the next meeting, then, to operation? I know we
Sections.
already discussed it, Evan, but at least we could,
Yeah, sure.
let them know. All right. So we are done the meeting minutes that we have.
hey, we're at 7 o'clock.
We're missing June. We're going to get that next time, and we'll go from there. Oh, it says next up adjournment, but we'll have to go back. I know.
Gotta go backwards.
All right, so now it's 7 o'clock.
only
We'll
wish.
start the meeting. 314 Dunstable Road. The Chelmsford Planning Board will conduct a remote public hearing on Wednesday, November 11th at 7:30 PM. Minor site modification via Zoom meeting platform to consider the application of Dunstable
I
Road.
don't even know if we really should be
Yeah, I
taking
know, I don't
open
even
this
know if I
at
need to
7:30.
Read
So
that.
it's just a minor modification.
No, that was back in November.
Yeah, that's,
This was back in November. So this was the original
Yeah,
description of the project.
all right. I'm just wondering if somebody's gonna look in.
yeah, I was gonna say, it's a minor, so do we have someone here for this, for Dunstable Road?
I'm remote today.
Someone else.
It's
Okay.
Casey Ferrara. Casey, identify yourself.
Hi, Casey Ferrera, Hurricane Hudson.
Okay.
Are we moving forward or?
Yeah, go ahead, please, present.
Okay. So I am here on behalf of Dunstable Ledge LLC. They are the property owners. Since final approval in July when the Mylars were signed, they have been coordinating with National Grid to bring electric to the site. National Grid has expressed concerns about going underground through the wetland crossing and the culvert. So National Grid has proposed to bring overhead just to the other side of the culvert, right to the extension of the wall. And that will basically allow them to avoid the flood zone and avoid any culvert crossing so that future maintenance and any replacement of cables may not damage the bridge, or any flooding may not damage the cables. So that's pretty much why we're here. And we know it's
Casey, can I ask you a question, Casey? Sorry to interrupt you, but is there,
Sure.
you're coming in real garbled. I don't know if there's anything you can do to fix that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel, it's hard
Yeah,
to
it's a
hear, so
little-
I don't know if maybe we can do something here, but.
how about this? Is this any better?
No, Evan or Colleen, can you kind of just go through what they're here for?
Yeah, I think Christina is in the room, and I think she has probably the best handle on this minor modification.
Okay, I see what they're up to.
Hi, Christina.
Hi. I didn't bring the paperwork for the application. So essentially, Casey said is that National Grid had a problem with, no, not National Grid, who was it? National Grid, Casey?
Grid, that's what he
It was
said.
National Grid, thank you. So National Grid had a problem putting underground conduit for the subdivision.
Through the wetlands.
All the way through the wetlands, through the culvert, all that stuff. What they're proposing is to put above-ground traditional utility poles till just to the other side of the culvert and wetlands, and then continue underground after that. He did attach a plan showing, roughly what they'd like to do. He showed me the plan because a lot of the utility poles would be within the drainage easements. I wanted to make sure the DPW didn't have any problem with the utility poles within the drainage easements, and we don't. So basically, I did not have any concern with the plan that he showed me, but subdivision rules say you need to have underground utilities in a new subdivision, so it's up to you to decide, how you'd like to proceed.
Okay, so you have no issue with it, and do we have a letter from you, or do you
Yeah,
just?
I
there's a
provided
letter. So
a
we're-
letter.
There's a couple letters.
We're gonna go ahead.
We really should be reading the letters first.
Yeah, well, we're gonna.
No, we should be reading them first, because before we open the letter, just,
Yeah.
it's a procedure that we
The
probably
point is,
should
I
be
have
doing.
no letters.
I've got a copy of the DPW letter here. It says no concerns.
No,
Okay.
you do.
Yeah.
Didn't Trish have something going on this?
I don't know.
No,
Trish send
that
this
was
to
Route 40.
Okay, so we have one letter then from the Public Works, and there's no comments, right? I mean, no issues, as far as they're concerned. Anybody else? Paul, do you have anything?
No, these plans are from 7/7, is that correct?
No, well, these show the.
So they knew about this back in July?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay, so-
it's right here, August
okay.
19th, yeah.
No,
So,
I know.
They just used the old grading
Yeah,
plan,
okay.
or, just to show you the utility plan.
No, I don't have any
So this is
questions.
the red stuff.
I think it makes perfect sense running poles into a wetland
Yeah,
to disturb
yeah,
a lot of that.
I totally agree. I see no problem with this.
Okay, Mike? Deidre? Do you have any?
I have a point of order, I guess. I mean, if we're gonna deviate from our own guidelines for new subdivisions, does that require any action on our part legally? I mean, insofar as like a special permit, or I just don't know.
I think this is just a matter of our granting the minor mod.
For
Okay.
a particular situation, yeah. Nancy?
Did
It's treated
conser-
as a waiver. To
Okay.
answer Deidre's question, the way your subdivision rules and regs are written is that because they're regulations, any and all provisions can be waived by the planning board.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did the Conservation Commission approve underground utilities through that area?
Yes, the underground utilities were on the Conservation Commission plans.
Well, the problem we're having is National Grid.
Yeah, I understand. So this is really a cost issue with National Grid?
No, National Grid doesn't force the cost on that stuff, the developer has to.
Yeah.
They
I
have-
understand.
They have to service it if there's something goes wrong. You know, if they have to come in and fix it, that's what their
Yeah.
argument is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that
It could be liable.
the effort is to get rid of above-ground utilities because of the weather issues on them and just the site issues on them. And if underground was approved by, I mean, the only justification I'm seeing to put this above ground is that it's wetlands. And if the below ground was approved by conservation for wetlands controls, I'm hesitant for us to waive it.
So the question I have is on the letter from National Grid. It's in our packet here. Halfway down the first paragraph, it says, "We are proposing the 2 poles to cut costs on the construction,
Yeah.
as the company is obligated to design jobs." So is this a request by National Grid, or is this a request by the builder to put it above ground?
Well, it's going to be the builder that picks up the costs.
No, this looks like it's a request to National Grid.
Well,
This is a request based on National Grid's design that they came back with. So as the client has been coordinating with National Grid, this is what National Grid has wanted to put forward, and they are quoting that is, they are obligated to design jobs at the least cost. So they're trying to fulfill their obligation to design at the least cost while also avoiding cable installed in a flood zone,
Okay.
which the beginning portion of this road is in the flood zone next to the pocket wetland.
Okay, well,
Take a vote.
anybody else have anything?
No,
Okay.
I don't see any issue. It's 2 poles, most of the...
Three.
The 3 poles, is it?
3 poles.
So National Grid has proposed 2 poles, but through our engineering to avoid any wetland impacts and riverfront impacts, we're proposing 3 to cross the same span. We just want to put the poles where we're not going to impact any wetlands or riverfront or buffer zones.
It makes sense. And the subdivision itself will be underground except for those 3 poles. I think
Correct.
seems perfectly reasonable to me.
Yeah, okay.
So, do we need to bring this back to conservation
No.
to get their okay on the new plans? As there's potentially a wetlands impact?
This is all within their previously approved limit of work.
I'm sorry, I thought you said it was underground in the previously approved plan.
Correct, but the poles are going to be placed within the existing limits of work that they have approved.
National Grid has an easement. So they're still working inside of their easement.
Okay.
All right,
That
excellent.
helps explain it to.
All right, well, I'm prepared to make a motion out of it.
Okay,
Oh, I move that we grant the minor mod as described to replace a portion of the underground cabling with 3 poles and overhead lines.
excellent. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Henry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
So it's unanimous. Thank you, Casey.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, next up. 26 Wildwood.
Tim, I was going to ask you, can we get taken out of order? Brian's at another meeting, he's gonna be tied up.
Yeah, we sure can.
We can just go like back one.
Yeah, no worries. We'll go to 278 Mill. Rainbow, request discussion, Rainbow Builders Corp. for the property located at 278-282 Mill Road for the construction of a 5,400 gross square feet, single-story, multi-tenant commercial building. Tenants include a 3,000 square foot restaurant with 100 seats and 2 retail tenant spaces and associated site improvements. The site is located in IA zoning district and is shown on the parcel ID map, consisting of approximately 1 acre. The applicant requests approval of business amenity overlay district, the community enhancement investment overlay district, and associated special permits per sections 195-114A and B. Side and rear dimensional setbacks and 195-115C. Location of the parking between the front elevation and building and street. Mr. Proponent here, oh, there you are, Melissa.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Attorney Melissa Robbins from the law firm of Farrell and Robbins. Good evening. I think Mr. Beldumas is also in the crowd with you this evening. What you actually just read was the original notice, which was for the approvals that have already been granted. Just by way of background, this board already approved these permits in August of 2019, and this development is actually fully constructed now. Actually, I had some good news from Mr. Beldumas this morning that he actually got a tenant for his restaurant space.
And
What was it?
done.
Wings Restaurant.
Wings, okay.
I've never seen anybody to be able to shut a lawyer up like that before.
I think we lost Melissa.
We're not laughing at her, we're laughing with her. Well, we'll wait a couple, do you want to get up?
Oh, I'm
There you
sorry.
are.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
We glitched. All right, let me shut out of this other. Let me make sure that I'm.
That was a cliffhanger, we've been waiting to find out what it is.
All right, let's try again. Technology, can you hear me now?
Got it.
All right, I'm going to talk really fast before we glitch again. So the actual issue is that the building permits have been requested from the other 2 spaces within the development. And they already found a tenant for those portions of the development as well, which is the Center for Autism and Related Disorders, which is a private education center for up to 7 children. Just to be clear, this use is allowed by right. It's specifically allowed by Section 195-145A of the BOAD, which states that the existing use regulation schedule shall be applicable within the underlying zoning district. It's also an exempt use under 40A, and the board doesn't need to make that determination. We already had the building inspector make that determination. As to questions that may arise about the site and the use, there's no site issues, there's no site changes. There's significant parking out here, as the board knows, because it's already being used. It was already designed to accommodate retail use in those units, so there's no issues as to parking, as it's limited to 7 students at a time. There's no busing and there's no other issues. The use does not violate any condition of the permit. It's allowed by right. It's clearly an amenity to employees and residents in the BAOD who have children that need specialized education in these businesses. It actually goes to the first objective, I think, of the BAOD, and I'll read it to you quickly, which is to address changing town and regional market conditions specifically desired by employers and employees within the IA zoning district to have local access to goods, services, and housing. I mean, this is clearly services. It's clearly allowed. I'm not actually sure the board needs to make a finding on this as to the use, because the building inspector has already determined that the use is allowed. The question really was that it was raised as part, this was developed as part of the BAOD. It wasn't a specific use that was discussed during the hearing process. So staff felt uncomfortable signing off on the building permit until we came to the board this evening just to roll it out. So we came to the board this evening just to have a discussion. And really what you would like to do is for you to give Evan direction that he can sign off on the building permit, excuse me, for this allowed use. I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Okay, thank you. I'll just bring it around. Nancy, do you have anything?
Somehow I got lost in the middle of the beginning of that. So what exactly is the use that you're looking for?
It's actually a educational use. It's an educational business. It's a specialized educational business for autistic children. It's like specialized directed learning for up to 7 students. It's a business use. It's covered under 40A because it's educational in nature. And again, Nan, we're not asking for use. We don't need a special permit or anything for this use under the BAOD. It's just different than we brought before the board initially.
So why are they here?
The only reason that we're here is that staff was just a little uncomfortable signing off on the building permit because it wasn't a use that we discussed before this board. So we're just here to make sure the board understands what use is going in there and to direct staff to sign off on the building permit. The building commissioner has already signed.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so it certainly looks like it is a permitted by right use in IA to me, whether it's 40A or whether it is commercial, non-exempt educational. And it's within the gross categories of what we approved the use for, so I have no issues with this.
Thank you. Paul?
I don't have it.
No. Henry?
I'm good.
Mike?
No issues.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll give you a quick motion if you want it.
Let me just ask Evan and if they have anything. Evan, do you have anything with this?
I have a question.
Oh, Deidre, I am so sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, boy.
Just, Melissa, it's just really quick and basic. They're going to be utilizing both of the spaces?
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Deidre. Evan, do you have anything before we make a motion?
Melissa did summarize this accurately. My primary concern wasn't necessarily the use. It was the notion that the only reason the building exists is because of the BAOD overlay. If the BAOD overlay and the COID were not in place, then the project the board proposed and approved would likely be significantly different, directly associated with the zoning relief that was granted per the flexibility provided in the overlay. The secondary issue is more to what Melissa was saying. I've heard loud and clear from the board about the expectation that what you approve is what you want to get. So this was probably the first major example of that since the board and staff have had that conversation. So as Melissa said, ordinarily signing off on building permits for occupancy is never an issue. This is one that I thought the board should be aware of and have an opportunity to hear directly from the applicant, so that the board could, give your clear guidance to me as I'm signing off on behalf of the planning board's permit.
Okay, thank you, Evan.
I appreciate it being brought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it as
Appreciate
well.
it
Thank
coming
you.
forward.
Yeah. Okay. Mike, you all set?
I'm fine.
All right. That I would just move that we approve this change and direct the process to proceed accordingly.
Would we approve it or endorse it?
Endorse it is probably a better way to put it.
It's not an application.
This is not an
So I
application.
think we should
This is just
endorse
a.
it.
Endorse it, okay, we have a motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Deidre?
Aye.
Aye, okay,
Aye.
so it's unanimous. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Evan.
Thank you very much. Hey, and just for the board's information, I think I froze when I was telling you that it's Ling's Restaurant. It's a Chinese, Japanese, and sushi establishment.
Thank you. We actually heard from the proponent here, too.
Okay, good.
Thank you, and have a good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian's still not here.
We'll go next. All right, 10 Technology, we're going to continue the public hearing. 10 Technology Drive, site plan special permit review. Avery Products Corporation for the property located at 10 Technology requests a site plan review under 195-104 and special permits per section 195-21-6, dead-end parking, 195-44, and internal landscaping, 195-54, major business complex, 195-44C, buffer strips, and any other relief that is deemed necessary. The project proposes the construction of a new 43,038 square foot building with associated site improvements. Site is located in IA Limited Industrial District, consisting of approximately 137 square feet as shown on the assessor's map, 27-74-1. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For your record, my name is Steve Stupinski from Merrimack Engineering. I know you have plans that we revised and submitted electronically, but I thought I'd bring some reduced plans because we did make some changes since the last planning board meeting, specifically the fire department, and I'm hoping you have the letter from fire captain in your file. The fire department looked at what we had submitted and asked us to revise one of the smaller islands in the back of the site so that we had a mountable curb with grasscrete so that the fire truck could drive over it, and the grasscrete can support the load for the truck that we specified. We also made some other changes to the plans based on the town engineer's comments. Specifically, you will also see that at the drive-in door, we have bollards placed because the purpose of the drive-in door is really for trucks to come up to the door and drop off packages, pick up packages. The truck doesn't need to go inside. I think at the last meeting, we talked about adding the sewer meter and several other changes. And the question came up about lighting and also the building rendering, and specifically how the front landscaping related to that. So I'm not going to take up all your time tonight. I'm going to fast forward to Dan Ray and let him speak to the lighting and the building renderings. And if you have specific questions regarding the other items, I'm happy to answer them. I'll be here. And I would say as a postscript, the Conservation Commission did close their public hearing and issue an order of conditions for the project. We're hoping the planning board does that tonight as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
How you doing?
My name is Dan Ray. I'm here with Jewett Construction representing the client and here to speak to the architecture of the building in a little more detail. We took the board's request home with us at the last hearing and produced some architectural renderings, as well as provided some additional detail on the site lighting itself. So here we have our first view from the street. This is the southeast corner. It's kind of centered at the curb cut of the new facility, showing the relatively moderate grade change as you're entering the plot from the street. I think the board's initial reaction was that we would be much higher, particularly at this view, and some of the concern was specific to maybe seeing the rooftop units, kind of more of a bird's eye view of the site than what it is actually intended to be. So we produced this specific perspective rendering to try and clear up some of that depiction of what it's going to actually look like once it's constructed, specific to the grading. I'm going to flip this open to a few other views that we produced to complement this as well. The second depiction is further south, pictured from the center of the street. The grade does begin to rise gradually as you depart from the curb cut itself. We have depicted the accurate landscaping as Mr. Stupinski here has designed it to give you guys a better idea of what the actual vegetation is intended to look like. Again, as we rise in grade, as we depart from the curb cut itself, you can see there's still really little to no visibility of the actual roof structure itself. General architecture of the building is we have about a 26-foot maximum eave height, and it falls away from there gradually. The front facade it consists of insulated metal panel, which is an aluminum-clad facade with a sandwich panel for thermal envelope performance. This has a very mild striation to it to give it some architectural relief rather than just a plain flat panel. We have some black single skin architectural canopies over the main entrances. We specifically, it's tough to tell from this rendering, but we have another depiction that shows it a little bit better. We've made specific efforts to create variation in the front facade by switching from vertical to horizontal panels, which I can point out in the forthcoming image. So generally just different shades of grays and blacks is kind of how we're approaching the color scheme here.
Is your grass swale on the left-hand side of that building, as we're looking at it right here?
Correct. Correct. Yeah. This is again a little further southwest corner of center of the street, looking down on the facility. This is really where you hit kind of the maximum elevation in relation to the finished floor of the facility. That 26-foot eave height still rises much taller than the grade itself. You can begin to see the structure that juts out to the left at the back of the facility where some of the receiving functions are. Again, we've gone through and modeled a lot of the topography, the vegetation, the landscaping that Mr. Stupinski has designed to the city's criteria. This is the kind of enlarged up-close perspective view of the front facade. So you can see at the center point of the facility, we've actually made efforts to swap from the vertical grains to the horizontal grains, which does add costs to the project. It requires a lot of additional backing and framing and sheathing to accomplish that. But the client felt that it was money well spent to give it some architectural appeal rather than just a consistent facade texture. We've also switched from 2.5 to 3.5 inch panels at those locations to give a little relief to that facade so that it's not just a perfectly flat material across the entire front of the building that faces the street. You can see the architectural canopies in a little more detail that wrap those outside corners and give it some appeal. Those are a different material called a 7.2 panel from MBCI. Still an industrial type of look, but brings a little more of a high-end architectural taste to what is a more consistent facility down the longer stretches of the building. So that's that. And then just to give you guys a really good depiction of that material in the insulated metal panel and that aluminum contour, we've just done a really close-up, high-resolution rendering to show you guys what the color depiction is intended to look like, what the different striations in the paneling looks like, and how the different vertical and horizontal configurations break things up to make it interesting to the eye. So that's those are the perspectives that we produced to help the board visualize the intent that we were reaching for. We do have some of the exterior elevations as well, which have been submitted to the board for review that we brought to the last hearing. But took the board's comments to heart and went back and spent some time and effort just putting a little bit of color and perspective into context with those renderings.
Nice.
That's pretty much the gist of it.
Thank you.
Do you want to read the letter now, or?
Yeah, I can read the letter. All right, we have a letter here from the Chelmsford Fire Department, Fire Prevention Office, dated August 11th, 2021. Dear members of the board, the Fire Prevention Office has reviewed the proposal for a new building at 10 Technology Drive and finds the following. Water supply appears to be adequate. The required pressure and flow shall be confirmed by a current water flow test performed proximate to the site, with all calculations submitted to this department for review and approval. The applicant shall coordinate with the North Chelmsford Water District to arrange the flow test. Hydrant locations shown on revised plans are adequate. There are 2 hydrants proposed on the submitted site plan, and the project engineer relates that the fire department connection will be located at the point where the fire service main enters the building. The fire department connection shall be of a 4-inch stores type and shall be located on the Technology Drive south-facing side of the building. The developer shall provide paved access to the fire department connection, which must be always maintained. The Fire Prevention Office requires a hydrant within 60 feet of the fire department connection and will require a second hydrant in the rear of the building near the loading dock, which is currently provided for. Hydrants and fire protection equipment shall be free from landscaping obstructions. Access for firefighting apparatus and emergency vehicles is acceptable. The applicant provided this office with updated plans that show swept path analysis using the AASHTO Bus 45 turning template. Fire apparatus access shall be designed by a registered engineer to withstand the weight of fire apparatus. Snow storage shall not obstruct or impede fire access roads or turnarounds. All exits shall have sidewalks to allow a continuous path from the exit that leads to a public way. The dumpster location shown on this plan is adequate. An automatic sprinkler system conforming to NFPA 13 and a fire alarm system conforming to NFPA 72 shall be required. Both systems shall be monitored by a UL-approved central station monitoring service, and all components and fire protection systems must comply with State Building Code and Chelmsford Fire Department requirements. All work on fire alarm, sprinkler, and bidirectional amplifier systems must be permitted through the Chelmsford Fire Department online permitting system. All equipment related to fire safety shall be located at the discretion of the Chelmsford Fire Department. The applicant is advised that testing for emergency radio responder communication and, if necessary, installation of a bidirectional amplifier system shall be required prior to occupancy being granted. The applicant must apply to the Town of Chelmsford E911 Committee for address through its coordinator, Town Clerk Tricia Zuris. This office approves of this plan with these conditions. I ask the board to make this letter a part of their approval process. Respectfully submitted, Captain Kartsufis.
Do we have a copy of the sweat path, the new one? Do we get a copy of that? Evan or Colin, do you know if we have a copy of that?
I did submit one, and
I do remember us talking, Evan and Colleen, if you can remember.
I do have a copy of it. What we did do, the addition to the one that, you have a copy of the new one, but in addition to the one that I have here, what we did is we continued the path across. This is the island in the rear, and we eliminated the snow storage area here and made this snow storage area larger. And this is the island that became the grasscrete with the mountable granite curb. But, and you have that electronically.
We do?
Yes, you do.
Okay, because I'm looking through and I don't see it.
Yeah, when I submitted it to the fire department, I
Yep.
copied Evan,
Okay.
Colleen,
So,
and...
did anyone else see it? I'm just curious.
I hadn't looked at that particular detail, but this description seems,
No, it definitely
Adequate to
does,
me.
but I do remember we had a conversation about adding the swept plans to our docs. So Evan and Colleen, do you know if we have that swept plan? And in the future, if we could add this, if there is one submitted, could we please get a copy of it to look at?
I'm actually going to pull it up in just a minute.
Did you send it out to us prior, or? So I don't see it, that's why I'm curious.
Did you have it last time? I thought we.
no, this is a
No,
change since
updated
last time.
It's an updated one, that's why I don't remember seeing it last time either.
Is it in any of these updated plans that we have on the table here?
No. Maybe it's in this one. He said it was online, that's why I'm looking. I'm sure you submitted it, I'm just looking through there, and if they knew where it was ahead of time, it would be. This is it. Oh, it is what it is. Let's move on to the next while they're looking for that. Nancy, do you have anything?
He's got the full plans here that were just left in front of us.
These are just the site plans. Lights, not.
Yeah, I do.
We haven't got the
I
lights
have a
yet either.
concern. And my concern is over dead-end parking. It appears to be dead-end parking on the left side of this building without a turnaround.
She just had it up,
space.
the plan.
That was the earlier one. I'm sorry, I'm still looking for it. Was there a file name on it?
This is the latest.
If you could ask the proponent.
Yeah.
Say that one more time?
I have a lot of drawings that just are numbers. Does he know the number of the drawing?
Do you have a number on that sheet that you just held up? Excellent, thank you, sir.
It said fire on it, didn't it? I think it said fire.
All right, Nancy, we can, I guess you're concerned about that. We're waiting for them to
yeah.
pull it up. Anything else that you have while we're waiting?
No. But we should definitely look at turnaround spaces at all of these dead-end parking areas.
Agreed. All right, why don't we move on until that plan gets back up? Paul, do you have anything else beside Henry?
I appreciate the landscaping plans that you've showed us. The big trees that are in front of it, I know Nancy always has has a thing about oaks. What are they?
Steve, could you elaborate on that?
They're like the mini leaves, what were they?
They're not oaks, but they're not a great alternative.
I greatly appreciate these. I think one or two more bigger trees on the corners just to break up the view of the building, I think would be great. Other than that, I'm pretty much fine with it.
Okay, Mike?
I'm good.
Mike?
I'm actually pretty good. I agree with the comment on trees, but, you know, I'm not particular as to what they are.
Okay. Deidre?
I'm okay with it.
Okay. I myself, I'm okay with it. Like Nance, I'd like to, oh, Paul?
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, let me,
I had already said I was.
yeah, I was gonna say, I thought I asked.
Yeah, you already
it.
asked.
All right, thank you. I myself, I thank you. I think the look of the building is, I like the look of it. I understand their concerns about the trees. Colleen, do you close to finding that?
I didn't get an answer. I don't know what the number of the drawing is, so I'm looking through a
Colleen,
bunch.
3 of 11.
They're not listed that way, Nancy. I'm sorry. He sends one page at a time.
I'm sorry. If you go to the agenda for the meeting,
Oh, wait a second. I think he just sent it to me.
It was, it's called Fire Truck Turning Plan 12294. And the revision-
12294.
Yeah, and the revision date was 8/23/21, and I
trees that we
just
want
resent
added?
you the email that we sent the fire department and copied you.
No, you definitely, you sent it, so they have it. So we apologize for that. We just would have liked to see a copy of it.
The only thing I would say is
You know,
we added a couple.
Nothing to do with you.
All right.
Colleen, could you pull up design sheets number 3 of 11 from the agenda for the meeting?
Yeah.
The third one down from the agenda, I can do that.
And this
Yeah.
was just corrected, I guess.
Is there any more trees you want? There's only 3 on it. You want more? How many more do you want?
Very clear.
I agree with you, but I'm just saying we should give them direction. We want 10
Yeah.
trees or something.
I would, I'd like to see,
They should turn.
Yeah, I like the way that they did the different angles on the building too.
but it's got
Stands
a,
out.
there's a neighbor here, and I think there's some scrub in here, but they're not showing it.
Yeah.
But I would say like 2 or 3 trees there, and maybe one in between here, and that'd be good.
More trees is what we're talking about.
That's all we're talking about,
3 more trees.
large trees.
Are you, I mean, from, you're talking more here in the front, or you're just talking on this left side over here?
I would like to see one in between the 2 that are there,
In the front.
yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, in the front, they've got
3 in the front.
Yeah, and maybe 2 more on the left-hand side of it, just to
Yeah,
block the view
to
over
the
a little
left,
bit.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I could
Yes,
provide a
please.
little highlight.
It may-
The left part of this lot is encumbered, and we talked about this, I
Right,
think,
it's
at the
got
beginning of the hearing, when we first opened it. It's encumbered with a grading easement that also has a water main in it.
Okay.
So, if you look at the planting that I provided, the first tree begins at the edge of the easement, and then your regulations call for a tree, a street tree, every 35 feet, and then smaller trees between it to be, I think, 2.5 feet high. So what I did was based on the 35-foot spacing, maximize out the number of the larger deciduous trees. I would have liked to have gone all the way to the property line by, the building on the left. But we've got the water main in there that we need to leave open for access for the Chelmsford Water District. And we also have grading restraints, so we really can't do work other than utility work in there. So,
And it's not really desirable to have the roots of large trees
No.
twining around water mains.
And I like the look of the front, so I think he explained that and why, and
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Fair enough.
Is that one?
Colleen, can you blow that up about, I don't know, twice? 200% maybe? Okay. And recenter it? That's good. Just a little bit higher. Right there. Okay, so what I'm concerned about is parking lot C at the upper left-hand side and parking lot A at the bottom in terms of having enough space for the parking spaces that are at the end of those lots to back up and turn around, to back out and proceed. That I'm not really seeing dimensions here that would support the ability to do that. And all 3 of these lanes are dead-ended lanes. So we do have a requirement that you have to be able to back up and turn around for dead-end lanes.
I see your concern. I know that that number is 3 feet, which should be adequate to allow an automobile to back out and make that turn.
Can you
That's why
improve
you actually
that?
see you actually see the pavement set back further from that stripe in both lots. And
Can you
that's-
increase the dimension on that?
It's 3 feet. We could increase it to, I think,
6?
yeah, we could actually do it, increase it to 6, yeah. We could do that.
Cut down on impervious surface too.
And now you said you made the,
Before I say that, let me just look at the grading for a second. I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, it may be a grading issue, but,
You know,
are you asking a question to?
on parking lot C, increasing it to 6 feet is not an issue. I might have to add a small 2-foot-high retaining wall
Yeah,
at parking lot A in order to accommodate that.
okay.
But if we did make it 6, we'd have a small wall there, I think.
I think that would be reasonable.
I'm the owner.
Yeah.
Just eliminate parking spots.
Just eliminate one of the
You could, well, if you
what I
have,
was
if you
thinking.
have enough parking for the
We'll have enough.
space, for the building.
There you go.
Not enough.
Win-win.
Win-win, good.
Fun. Okay. Hold on.
We all set with that, Nancy?
Yeah, except that one of the parking spaces that you're talking about eliminating is handicapped.
I can move it over.
They can,
So it needs to, the handicap needs to move over.
okay, so we're all on the same page?
Yes.
Excellent. Anybody else have anything? Deidre, I did get you, right? Believe so.
Yep.
Okay, just want to make
Those
sure.
are parking
Open up the public hearing, I
calculations.
guess.
Oh, okay. That's it, and nobody else? All right, so we'll open up the public hearing. Colleen, is anybody on? And let me read the number just in case.
Yeah, you have plenty.
I'll read it again. If I can find it again, here it is. It's 929-205-6099, and we are discussing 10 Technology Drive, and we just opened up the public hearing. Is there anyone, Colleen?
Nobody online.
Anybody in the audience?
Anybody?
Make a
While
motion.
we're waiting too, that island, you said you just, at the end of that strip, that's what you made, that you can drive over now with the truck? At the end of C?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if you look at the plan sheet 4, you'll see the grasscrete, the crosshatch area.
Yeah, okay.
That's the grasscrete, and then there's a detail of that on,
What size trucks do you have going back down there to the loading dock? They gotta be bigger trucks, right? I mean, yeah, so there's gotta be room for that. and-
yeah, the tractor trailers can make the turn, and
Yeah,
the fire department actually can turn around by coming up into not the loading dock, but the drive-up place,
Yeah.
the drive-up lane. They can actually make that turn. But what they wanted to do was have access into the parking lot in case there was a car fire or they had to get into the side door of the building.
parking lot C.
Parking
Yeah,
lot C,
okay.
right, which we had access on 3 sides, but they wanted it onto the 4th, which is why
Okay.
we didn't plan on that originally, because we had 3 sides.
Right.
And now we added access into parking lot C, which is why we needed to make it mountable curb.
Okay. Well, thank you for actually making the changes too.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
Second. Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, unanimous.
All right.
Deirdre.
Deidre?
Aye. Aye.
You need a motion to push this forward?
Yes?
All right, I move that we approve the site plan and special permits as requested. Now, is this going to be subject to an increase in the turnaround space on the dead end parking?
No, it's going to be subject to
Move on one spot.
blocking off or hatching off the last
Okay.
parking space in
That's
each
fine.
one of those rows.
I second it.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys are all set with that, right?
Okay.
Yep. All in favor?
And moving the handicap spot, so there's.
Moving it over,
Yeah,
yes.
that's obvious, yeah.
Deidre?
And
I think she said aye.
stipulate that the handicap spot also needs to be
Yes.
relocated.
Yep,
Okay.
yeah, we made sure of that.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You got your permit.
Thanks for your
Guys.
patience. And it looks like a nice project.
That does it. Quite consistent with the area.
Waiting?
Tim, if you want, I could probably jump in for Brian. I don't know how long he's gonna be.
Sounds good to me, if you would like to.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know pretty much everything that he does.
Excellent. think you've been around there enough. So, all
Glenn
right.
Cole,
What?
owner of the property at 28 and 30 Wildwood.
All right, excellent. I'll just read Wildwood. It's a minor modification. I don't even know if I need to read this because it was back. Yeah, I'll read it.
No, you don't.
You all set with
Do you
that?
have any letters?
We're looking now.
We don't generally on minor mods, but
It should be in that folder, in that box tabbed for us.
Well, they are,
They
but
are.
there aren't any, so she's looking
they
just
are,
to
but-
verify
but I have to
because.
look at the package to find out if there's anything buried in there because,
Yeah.
you know. So there are no letters in here, but I would advise that this development is under a wetlands protection order. So wetlands does apply to the property.
All right. Does anybody, let me bring it around. Does anybody have anything with it, Paul?
Oh, you're gonna take a limb.
Yeah, Mike, I'm sorry, I've read it.
That's
Go ahead.
okay.
Go ahead, Glenn.
Okay, so what we're trying to get accomplished here, the layout of the road originally came through, and it was a big sweeping curve on it. So we straighten the layout of the road itself out to make it more straight, to buy us another 11 feet to get us out of the edge of the 50-foot wetland setback. Just to make it so everything will fit. It's a real tight area in there, and by shifting the layout of the road over, the actual asphalt on the road is in the exact same place. There's no change to drainage, there's no change to anything except for the paper layout on the plan. So the actual road itself is pretty much the same thing. Drainage is the same thing. And we added an area of 1 foot coming up from the back lot to separate the back section of the road to the property to create an area where the building will sit, the house will sit in, which it won't have a front yard setback because it's on a corner lot of 2 streets. And as you know, you have a 40-foot setback on both. So that bought us a little bit more not square footage, but a little bit more setback
miles.
area.
To the Hutchinson River Parkway South.
I hear
Deidre,
voices.
you might want to mute.
I'm hearing voices. I thought they were talking to me again. So it's a very straightforward thing. It's just a minor moving of the actual layout part of the road is the basic.
Okay.
All right.
Bring it around with anybody with anything. Paul, do you have any questions, concerns? Henry?
2017 is when this was approved. Has anybody kept it up so that we're not dealing with
Yeah,
the 3
we came in last year and redid it again. Right after the COVID stuff.
That was mine with this one.
I have no issue.
This makes perfectly good sense to me. I have no problem.
Nancy?
Glenn, is this moving into the wetlands or away from the wetlands?
Away from the wetlands.
Okay. Wouldn't be a problem.
Right. I have nothing with it either. Christina or Evan, is anybody? Evan, you have anything on this, or you good?
I have no concerns. However, I believe Christina did not have time. I would request that if the board is inclined to make a motion to approve, just condition it that Christina has an opportunity to do her typical review. Which, I mean, Christina's there. I don't think it would be too,
If she
too
has any
involved or-
questions, I'm more than willing to try to walk her through it. It's very
Yeah,
simple, and we got a person buying these lots within like a week or so.
Yep.
So it's kind of a time sensitive.
Yeah, no problem.
I have no issue. I'll give you a motion if you want.
Are we gonna listen to Christina?
Yeah,
Is she
do you-
ready to-
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Do you have,
I mean, I haven't gotten a chance to look at them, so I can't comment
Why don't
on
you
them.
make a motion too?
okay, well,
How about we approve with Christina's?
with,
Just,
that fine?
Subject to.
Subject to
yeah.
Christina's approval.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Will we be able to get the Mylar signed on it with that, in there?
Well, I mean, if you can meet with her, get that, right? And we'll,
If she approves it, then we could sign them out.
yeah, I'd be ready to go to sign
Christina,
it.
when can you do this?
I can probably take a look at it tomorrow.
Okay,
All right.
all right. In that case, I think it's perfectly reasonable for us to approve contingent upon Christina's approval.
Yeah.
And somebody can go down and sign the Mylars when that's
I can
done.
sign when ready.
I mean, I'll be around if you need it.
Yeah.
I can take it.
Now, that's all I need is a motion.
All right, then I move that we approve this minor mod with the condition that engineering have a look and approve the change.
Okay. Second by Paul. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Deidre is an aye.
Bada bing.
Very good. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
So I'm going to recuse myself.
Oh,
this
this
next
is,
one.
This is
50
up
drum.
north.
Okay? No, this is due to a potential building, my company. is located.
Oh, really?
I saw it on the list, so.
All right. All right, next up is 50 Drum Hill Road, site plan, special permit review, AKA 66 Parkhurst, former Applebee's, Drum Hill Associates LLC, for a property located at 50 Drum Hill Road, requests a site plan review under 195-104, and special permits per section 195-5, use regulations, attachment 1, line D 22A, banquet drive-through 195-17B, maximum on-site parking, and any other relief that is deemed necessary. The project proposes the demolition of the existing structure and the construction of a new 3,292 square foot single-story Chase Bank, a freestanding drive-through kiosk with associated site improvements on a 62,238 square foot, 1.5 acre lease area. Site is located in the CC Shopping District and consists of approximately 18.5 acres as shown in the assessors map 32-109-1. How are you?
Kai Burke with Core States here on behalf of Chase Bank. We were here a couple weeks ago. I think everybody's familiar with the project and the site. The feedback we got was y'all wanted to see some renderings from Drum Hill and from the shopping center. You wanted to see some additional landscape enhancements, and I know there was a question on the color rating of the lights. As you can see from the packet, we did submit this rendering electronically, so staff has it. It was not part of the agenda packet, but I provided that for you this evening. You know, we'll be pretty well screened from the road, fit in with the commercial character of the neighborhood. The roof fixtures and HVAC will be screened by the parapet. So I think, you know, from a view standpoint, it's going to look, you know, like what's out there. There was an internal miscommunication on the K ratings. We did put those all at 4,000. What was submitted to staff does not have that, and so the C5 sheet that's in the packet I just handed out shows the 4,000 K ratings. We would certainly be open to a condition to guarantee that, and we can get those revised plans to staff. Also have Larry Lesser, the landscape architect, on to talk a little bit more about the landscaping improvements and enhancements that we made.
You're on.
With this plan, we heard what the commission had been talking about last week, or last meeting, and we tried to take those to heart and incorporate those features in. So the basic approach to this was beautification enhancement. We wanted to keep the existing shrubs, we wanted to keep the existing trees, but we also wanted to accent it and expand upon it. So where we had quite a few, we kept all the existing shrubs along Drum Hill, but we hadn't added that much with the last plan. With this plan, we've added a significant amount more shrubs. They're also salt tolerant. We heard that's a big issue along Drum Hill. So the plants that are there will not only take the salt tolerance, but there's going to give some foliage color as well. We have, for example, a ground cover juniper called a blue chip that keeps a lot of blue color throughout most of the year, turns some purpley tones during the winter. We have Physocarpus, which is a 9-bark. This particular variety keeps also the purple reddish foliage. So it too will match the barberries that are there right now, for example. We've also added a number of evergreens, some low hollies, and as well as a dwarf variety of Arrowwood viburnum, which will give us some great fall color, just flaming orange or red, depending on the actual conditions there. We also made sure that the mulch that's around the building is a river rock mulch. It's 1 to 2 inches in diameter. It'll maintain a nice even appearance without looking clunky, and should hopefully alleviate some of the concerns about mulch catching on fire. With that, one last item. All the plants that are on here, with one exception, are native to Massachusetts. That was something that was a big concern to us. Most of the plants are happen to be native to the same general areas, Chelmsford, not all, but most. So with that, if you have any questions, be happy to answer.
Thank you. Do we have any letters during this, or do we already?
Well, we have the front page of the letter from the Water Department that was missing last meeting, which I will read. Dear Planning Board members, the Board of Water Commissioners of the North Chelmsford Water District has reviewed the proposed site plan and special permit application for 50 Drum Hill Road, Chelmsford, Mass. To construct a 3292 square foot building. The North Chelmsford Water District can supply water with the full understanding that the applicant shall follow the rules and regulations of the North Chelmsford Water District and the Chelmsford Fire Department's requirements and agree to the following conditions. 1. The existing 2-inch domestic water services must be terminated at the existing water main. The new water service will be 1.5-inch, sleeved up through the foundation and protected with a State of Massachusetts approved backflow preventer. 2, the fire sprinkler service entering the existing building will be a cut, capped, and thrust blocked at the satisfaction of the North Chelmsford Water District. 3, the existing fire hydrants must be protected from the demolition and must meet finish grade and be designed to flow as not to disturb any landscaping or cause any damage. 4, the applicant shall pay a water impact fee based on the size of the domestic water service. 5, the materials are to be purchased through the North Chelmsford Water District per our specifications. 6, the applicant must submit a utility plan clearly showing the existing water mains, fire hydrants, and water services, with details on removing, capping, and termination. Sincerely, Bruce Harper, Superintendent. In this package for 50 Drum Hill, I also found a letter from the Water District for 10 Technology Drive. Yeah. I also have here a letter from Core States. I presume this is the applicant?
Yes.
As a response to department letters. I presume you'd like me to read that one as well.
Yes, please.
You're welcome. Chelmsford Planning Board regarding 50 Drum Hill Road, AKA 66 Parkhurst, proposed Chase Bank redevelopment. This office is in receipt of 3 comment letters from Chelmsford staff prior to our first public meeting with the Planning Board. We hereby provide responses to these comments and conditions repeated below, with our response in blue italicized text immediately following. From the Chelmsford Fire Department, August 4th, 2021. The Fire Prevention Office has reviewed the proposal for a new building at 50 Drum Hill Road and finds the following. Water supply appears to be adequate. There is current existing fire hydrant on the site. This hydrant shall remain in operation. Access for firefighting apparatus and emergency vehicles is acceptable. Snow storage shall not obstruct or impede fire access roads or turnaround. All building exits shall have sidewalks to allow a continuous path from the exit that leads to a public way. The dumpster location shown on this plan is adequate. Due to the increasing number of calls for mulch fires this department responds to, this office recommends that no bark mulch be used on site. This department requests that rock mulch be used in all areas where bark mulch is proposed. A central station monitored, parentheses, UL approved, fire alarm system shall be required as a condition of fire department approval. The fire alarm system shall comply with NFPA 72 and all Chelmsford Fire Department requirements. The applicant is advised that testing for emergency radio responder communication, and if necessary, installation of a bidirectional amplifier system shall be required prior to occupancy being granted. The applicant must apply to the Town of Chelmsford E911 Committee for address through its coordinator, Town Clerk Tricia Zuris. This office would approve this plan with these conditions and changes, and I ask the board to make this letter a part of their approval process. The applicant's response is, we accept these as conditions of approval, should approval be granted by the planning board. Letter from the North Chelmsford Water District, August 6, 2021.
I think you've already read that, haven't you? I mean, you've read most of these last time we were here. I think they're in the record already.
They are all in the record. It's just that the applicant included the text in their letter.
Okay.
Would you
Maybe
be
just read the response.
amenable to not including the reading of the
Yeah,
content
because-
of the applicant's letter that,
I'd be amenable to that since you've already done it.
Yeah.
It's in the record.
I will be happy to do that. North Chelmsford Water District, August 6th, 2021. Their response is, we accept these items as conditions of approval, should approval be granted, and we have added notations to the utility plans to follow water district requirements for cutting and capping. The response to comments from Chelmsford Engineering Department of Public Works, August 6th, 2021. Their response is, we accept these as conditions of approval, should approval be granted by the planning board. We understand that additional comments may come forward from engineering or other departments. However, to date, we accept the comments provided and see these conditions as acceptable, and we consider these as appropriate conditions of approval should the planning board grant site plan approval. I remain available at any time to discuss these matters in detail. I can be reached using the information below. Respectfully submitted, Core States Group, Alan D. Roscoe, Professional Engineer, Senior Project Manager.
That it?
That's it.
All right. So bring it around. Paul, do you have anything?
Yeah, I think the one question was on the lighting, right? That we had.
Can you say that one more time?
The question we had before was on the lighting, I believe.
The K rating.
The K rating, and I think they're over according to what I have a hard time reading the specs on that, but they would need a special. So if you'll flip to the page before that sheet.
Yeah, it shows
C5.
spreads it out, yeah.
Yeah, the K rating will be 4,000 on all of them.
That's what you just corrected, right? You
Correct.
said-
Oh, you did.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
All set?
This might be more for the landscaper. I see there's quite a bit of grass going in here. Is there going to be any irrigation on it, or, to the left of the building, I understand there's quite a bit of grass, and there's a couple of islands. I just want to make sure that we don't have like dead brown. To look at.
It looks great on the
It looks
green,
great,
yeah.
It looks great in the picture.
Will
I
it
just wonder
stay
what it's
like
going to look
that?
like in 2 years.
Right now, I don't believe we have any irrigation planned, but if that's an issue, we can certainly address it.
All right, I'll let Nancy take and, she's usually the landscape person.
Why don't
I'm
you go
the one
next,
that's been
Nancy?
pinch hitting me, yeah.
So that's a really valid question, because we don't usually see this kind of grass on our commercial industrial plants.
And I like seeing it.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to seeing it, but the issue is, how is it being maintained? Because
Right.
we are quite concerned, not just about getting more green space into Chelmsford, but getting more maintained green space in Chelmsford. So the question is, what are you going to do in terms of keeping this green? This year would certainly keep it green all by itself, but last year wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have an issue putting in an irrigation system.
Perfect.
Yep. Good answer.
Great answer.
I do not have any issue with the materials that are being used here, given where the site is. It works.
Okay. Deidre?
I have no issues.
Okay. Mike?
I think it looks pretty good, frankly.
No, the Chase building looks like similar Chase buildings I've seen. I love the green space.
This has got a lot of green.
Even though it may not be there forever, for now, it looks great. No, I think it's going to be a great addition.
Sure, Chase would keep up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not gonna leave it.
They're not going to let it.
Okay.
Well, they could.
Need a motion?
We do.
Go dry.
All right, then let's see, well, let me ask Kevin quickly, can we do the site plan and the special permits all in one motion? Or do we need to split it?
Well, before you do that, just close go to the public hearing and then close it if there's no one making comments. But yeah, you can do it in one motion.
Didn't say so.
All right, so Colleen, can you check to see if there's anyone out there? I'll read the number one more time. 929-205-6099. And we are discussing 50 Drum Hill Road. Does anybody with anything?
There's nobody online.
And then I move we close the public hearing.
Excellent.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So this is not an overlay? This is by right?
This is straight.
Which means we need to vote on any special permits separately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to start? Or
All right, well, then I'll move that we approve the site plan under 195-105, or 104, excuse me. Subject to, there were some conditions, were there not?
Irrigation.
The irrigation.
Irrigation being added.
So 195-104, and second
Second.
by Henry, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, and then I will give you a motion for special permit under 195-5, bank with drive-through.
Second
Second.
by Henry, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent.
And then I'll give you a motion to approve the max on-site parking special permit, 195-17B.
Second.
Second by Henry, all in favor?
Aye.
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 I think that's it.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir.
All approved.
All right, next up, we have 1416 Fletcher.
Last time we were looking for letters and we didn't have any.
It was, I think, from the SOAR.
Yeah,
Oh,
there was
actually, I
a-
got to step aside on this
Yeah.
one.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay, I'm gonna,
Hey, we got some letters.
right.
almost forgot.
Yeah.
Well, we do, but I don't know how many of them have been read before.
I don't think we read anything before.
Oh, all right, then,
We're waiting on one.
then it's going to be a long night.
But I think we already did.
We
these.
read them.
Yeah,
I thought we did them.
No, we already approved
Waiting
it.
on one, right?
Yes.
Who was it?
Who was it?
This is just a
Hold on, Evan's gonna speak.
You have a draft decision in front of you.
Yep.
It was emailed out. You should have a hard copy in front of you. In addition to that draft decision, there is an email from Steve Yonley. That was the letter that you were waiting for, was on the sewer moratorium.
Okay, which are these? It's in here somewhere.
Got it.
Of course.
Do you see it?
Ah, got it. And,
Basically, no further increase.
yeah,
So,
yep, okay.
yeah, so I understand Steve's letter. He's basically saying that somewhat difficult to estimate based upon Title V flows for what's being proposed here. But he does provide some reasonable ranges for purposes of this particular use. Otherwise, the draft decision is pretty boilerplate.
Yeah.
You should probably take a vote, but you probably still should sit out in the audience, just in
Yeah.
case.
I didn't do that.
Such a crowd out there, he'll be, he can find a seat.
Okay. All right, so let's run it around.
I don't have anything.
I'm good.
No, I read it. I had no comments.
Ann?
I don't understand the first of the finding statements.
The board finds that the proposed use is not a traditional kennel, and as such, any adverse effects of the proposed use will not outweigh.
I don't understand how the
Okay.
statement implies the justification.
Well, the reason I inserted the not a traditional kennel is I remember hearing one member, if not several, state that. And I think that was fairly important based upon what the board experiences with kennels, meaning that there is no kenneling, there's no boarding, there's no outdoor play area. In fact, this is really not much of a kennel at all, other than it falls into our definition. It's almost a retail service rather than a traditional kennel. So I thought I would include that kind of comment into the board's decision.
I agree with Evan.
Yeah, okay, I now understand it.
You know, maybe to Nan's point, maybe after non-traditional, I should put in parentheses, no kenneling, no boarding, no outdoor play area.
Is it even a kennel? And as such, does it require a special permit?
It's a kennel just based upon our very broad definition, three or more dogs, 3 months or older in one location of commercial nature.
Yeah.
And then there's examples, kenneling, boarding, but the definition says if you have three or more dogs that are over 3 months in one location in a commercial setting. So for purposes of zoning, for belts and suspenders, this came in as a commercial kennel.
Yeah, I think I understand that.
But I think the board definitely picked up on the fact that it doesn't have any of the traditional characteristics of a kennel. Which is why you asked if there was an outdoor play area. All your typical questions is based upon a kennel review.
Then I think I would rephrase that finding. I'm not quite sure what to, but maybe the board finds that the proposed use is not a traditional kennel, and as such, the adverse effects that would be associated with a traditional kennel do not apply to this use.
Yeah, I think that's clearer.
Thank you. Yeah, I can make that revision.
So, any other comments? Anybody care to? Oh, I'm sorry, Deirdre. I'm forgetting you too. This is getting embarrassing.
I think Deirdre drove off the map.
Yeah.
I'm good.
There she is.
Out here tonight?
You're good?
She's on vacation.
Okay. In that case, I would entertain.
I'm trying to motion to approve certificate decision of 14/16 Fletcher Street, special permit, 2000, special planning board file number 2000.
We're just blessing the
So,
Decision. Modified.
As modified.
as modified.
By
I
Nancy.
have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Deirdre?
Aye.
Got it. Okay. So,
Another one off the list.
another one's off the list, and my goodness, we're down to new business. For which we, all right. We have discussion, new business discussion work session. I know we talked about operations for next time around. I mean, we can see clearly even from tonight
Yeah.
that there's many issues that keep popping up. I'm not expecting things to be perfect, but I know we're all getting frustrated. So I'd like to, I'd like to really see some changes happening, and hopefully next time we can all discuss it and then see what we can do to help improve as well. Do we have a date for our next work session? Evan, Colleen?
Do we talk about
I
doing
would
it
do
once?
6:30. I would do 6:30 at your next meeting.
You know,
If you want
the
to do
only
a,
reason
if
I'm
you want
not-
to do
I- because 6:30 seems like tough. I mean, I got there like 6:28 myself, and, other
And I was
members were
late.
late. So I don't know, and granted, Evan, I think it'd be great if we could make it work so that we don't have to take another night. So it's up to you guys. But if we do say 6:30, if we, myself included, try to get here so that we could discuss it. Obviously, things come up, so do you want to try to do 6:30 then? With that?
I do.
Yeah. Henry, you okay with that as well? Okay, so Evan, we will do 6:30.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I think we should at least entertain the possibility of having a meeting devoted to, I mean, I feel like we need a systematic, more systems-based approach to these recurrent issues. And so, I mean, I feel like if it's 6:30, it's kind of sandwiched in, squished, if people are late and then the meetings, it's just making it a short time frame. So, I mean, I don't know that we'll get through everything in that time frame, but I mean, it's certainly worth giving it a try.
I agree,
We're
Deidre,
doing that
to a
other
point.
section.
That's why I mentioned it. So I just know that I'm not looking at, I don't think I could pick up another meeting until, maybe, the end of September or something, or October. So it's up to you guys. If you want to set for another work session, do you want to try 6:30 at the next meeting? We'll see what we can do then, and then move forward. Nance, do you have anything on that, or?
Yeah, I just think that half an hour for a work session doesn't get much done.
Right.
Well, I mean, there's nothing to keep us from starting the formal portion of the meeting at 7:30.
Anything on the list for the next meeting?
Well, we talked about operation.
I'm talking about
no.
anything
Colleen or
coming down the
Evan,
pipe.
how heavy is our agenda?
Colleen, do you have that in front of you? I'll take a look tomorrow, and I can reach out to Tim
Okay.
to work out the next agenda. If we can start the regular meeting, if we haven't advertised any new public hearings, I think one that comes to mind is Christina's zoning amendments and subdivision amendments. That was advertised for 7. I can't recall any development public hearings. But let me look into it, and I'll email Tim
It's supposed to be
tomorrow.
an H.
Okay,
Engineering?
and if so, if we did start a little bit later with Christina's, is that okay, as long as it's later and not earlier?
Yeah.
We can also do some discussion at the end, too. We don't have to.
Okay, yeah, that's true, too. Okay, so we'll play it by ear as far as that goes, but 6:30 start.
Because we got master plan,
Yeah.
we have,
Maybe do the master plan at 6:30 and then cover.
Can I say something as far as the master plan? Are we looking to bring it at the fall town meeting or anything like that we're gonna need? Okay, so, meaning, is there a lot of pressure for us to?
I thought we talked about the
We
last
wanna have a
meeting.
report.
Yeah, okay.
But we don't have to, we're not bringing
Not
it
taking
to
the
be
plan
acted on.
itself.
Yeah, okay, all right, so we're gonna, Evan will get in touch with me, but we're thinking of 6:30 start the next meeting.
Sure.
And we're gonna be talking about operations, to what Deidre said about how we can implement, things to make it easier and run smoother. Anybody else have anything?
Tim, I did just look at the legal ads, and there's nothing scheduled. There's been no legal ads placed, so you don't have any formal applications.
So far.
Good night to try to squeeze in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Push
So-
off the meeting till
So
7:30.
if all goes well, if all goes well, if we don't hear anything from Evan, I mean, if he comes back with nothing, would you guys want to start at 7 versus 6:30 if we don't have much that night? Would that be okay with you guys, or?
I can do 6:30, try to.
Or 6:30 still?
6:30
Okay.
is fine by me.
All right.
I just need to know. And, you know, if it's a
No
hard
worries, I
night-
would just rather, like, I don't want us to all be run,
Yeah.
because then it just is a waste of everybody's time, so. All right, I think that's it.
Christina's gonna take a.
Christina.
Christina.
So I don't have my formal presentation for the bylaw revisions. I plan on doing that, like you said, at the public hearing on the 8th. But what I did do was print out the current set of details
Because I had
that
asked you
Henry
about
asked
that,
for.
yeah.
These are from 2008.
Yeah.
These.
So hopefully it'll be somewhat close to it.
These are current, that's what we're using now, we've been using since 2008, the newest revisions. We're still waiting for them to release them. We can't even see the draft form of them yet. They're still in internal discussions from what we heard at our last meeting.
So,
DEP still having, so I mean,
Let's
I'm
save the
happy to
Commonwealth.
email this out if anybody wants to take a look at it. But I printed it for Henry to at least thumb through if he want, just for reference.
Bedtime reading.
It does list out a lot of the plants and things, if you're interested in what plantings are appropriate in rain gardens and things like that.
yeah.
Evan did email out the 4 bylaws, one new one, and the 2 bylaw revisions and the 1 regulation revision. What I'd like to do, if you have any feedback or any questions, I'm happy to answer those now for you.
So if we take and bring this to town meeting to approve it, and we don't get our updated revisions before then, how is that gonna affect us?
That's what I'm trying to get, as much of the,
I just.
If not, you're
Like-
gonna go with that.
I'm gonna go with what I've presented, or if anything gets changed on town meeting floor, but that's
always-
essentially, we're
that's
gonna go with
always
what I
fun.
presented.
That's difficult.
Yeah. No, I'm just,
Gotta do what you gotta do.
And those are just the 2 bylaws, the zoning and subdivision. Your regulations, I would hope to be able to get approved administratively through you at the same time. It's up to you when you feel that you'd be ready to do so. And of course, the 4th one is just for reference. It's the new stormwater regulations that are related to the new bylaw that we have. Then those are done administratively through the DPW.
this looks very interesting, by the way.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Hey, when you're done with it, shoot it over to me, drop it in the mailbox.
I can email it out if you want the PDF version of it.
That'd be great if you want to
Yeah,
email us.
just email me a
Sure.
PDF.
Yes,
Yeah.
please, absolutely.
Thank you.
No problem.
Anything else, Christina, then?
Sure.
You good for now?
Little light reading.
Only if you have questions I can answer about the bylaw, because like I said, as many revisions as I can get in now, it just helps because I'm preparing my presentation for the public hearing, so I still have time to tweak stuff if you have.
When we get it, we can read through that too, as well, the PDF. and then
That's
we-
old, I mean, that's old, that's from 2008, and
Yeah.
that's nothing proposed, it's just for reference.
Reference,
Like
okay.
how just to let you know how I'm reviewing things, because I'm referring to that for
Yeah.
design guidelines, which is what
Gotcha.
hopefully is getting constructed.
At some point.
I have seen, the traditional granite curb cut that they would have for catch basin going right out into grass. I was like, that's interesting. At least they can plow snow. They don't take and rip it out.
Those
Just
are
a-
some of the newer things that they're coming out with.
A question I have for you, just because it's been asked to me. I'm not gonna even say the place on Chelmsford Street, but there's one of these places that, it's got the drain that goes across the driveway. It's been blocked for 2 years. And everybody sees it because of the storm that we've been going through. Does stormwater have anything to do with any of that?
If it's within the right of way, I think we can probably have somebody take a look at it.
But I mean, it's just like people going like, we drive through this every day, because they, even when they take and run the sprinklers, it backs up. I know where it runs right down into the brook that's underneath 110. It comes
If
out
it-
Palm Plaza.
Oh, it depends if it's within the state right away or if it's within the town's portion of it, I'm sorry.
Probably-
Because
it'd
it's
probably be
a
the
state
state.
and town on both, it might be a state. So I email them, I send messages, I call, I do everything I can with the
Yeah.
state stuff and,
But as I said,
and it goes off into I don't know where.
They just ignore you. They don't even respond, right?
Yeah,
I
and
just-
I state
I
who I
just-
am too, it's not like I'm just like, anybody like, hey, what's up?
I've
I've
seen the
tried.
thing
It
flooded
gets
for a long
frustrating.
time, and it's like,
I hear you,
yeah.
yeah.
And I know where that brook is, because one of my family members developed that thing years and years ago. Before my
Deidre, do
time.
you have anything for Christina?
No.
I can see you like maybe out to dinner right now, so we're almost ready
No,
to
Got out of the
wrap
car
up.
anyways.
Yeah, we just checked into the hotel. That was what was happening when I was delinquent, responding not very quickly.
Thank you.
So I actually am sitting in the lobby.
Thank you for doing your best to be there. We appreciate it. Is that it, I guess, for tonight?
I have one more thing. I'm wondering, we were talking about the next work session and the, tackling the logistics of kind of complicated things that have been happening. And I was just wondering, sort of along those lines, I had requested that we have a checklist. And, we got a checklist, and so one thing is, I guess I'd like to have notification of abutters appear on the checklist. But the second thing is, I really would like for the checklist to not be a piece of paper that you actually check things off on. What I had in mind, which I feel like I discussed at some point, either with the board or with Evan, or maybe both, was something electronic where, when something came in and it was signed off, say the fire chief, okay, check, the fire chief signed off with these conditions. And then that would be an electronic, check off on that issue, and that letter would be, next to that check with a link. So we could actually, when we're reviewing a plan, know and have in one place all the things. Okay, the abutters were notified. Okay, here's the abutter list. Okay, the conservation signed off, and here's that. And the historic commission gave their feedback, and here's that. And have all the things that we've decided we want to know electronically available to us and checked off as complete, or NA if that's the case. But I think it should be more systematic and readily available.
I think that would fall underneath that.
It sounds great. I mean, that would really solve a lot of problems. I mean, it's something that we're gonna be talking about next week, and, next meeting in operations, and maybe that's something that we can implement. I'm not sure how that would happen or who would do it, but,
Who would do it?
I mean,
Sounds like
can
a
we utilize
database to
something
me,
like
and-
Dropbox?
sorry, we
Maybe
didn't.
Dropbox? I think there's a program called Dropbox that does something like that, and
So-
maybe Evan could present something to us if that's possible.
So Dropbox may be an option, but now that I've heard you kind of more detailed describe what it is that you're envisioning, the town's online permitting system may be a really good fit for this. It's primarily a back of the house system, but it does have a forward-facing interface. All of the electronic checkoffs that you're referring to that are typically done kind of behind, back of the house are contained within those modules. The planning board module exists. We're just in queue to be rolled out. So what I would like to do is circle with the assistant town manager, update him accordingly, ask when the planning board module can begin to be rolled out. And maybe there's an opportunity to have some sort of presentation to the planning board about that module. I can tell, like, the building department currently uses the module. And so it's effective for a lot of the things you're referring to, particularly departmental and board and commission sign-offs prior to issuance of a building permit or issuance of an occupancy permit. The complicating factor for planning board, which the module does include, is managing a butter notification, legal ad, submission, things of that nature.
Demolition permit.
Yeah, I mean, it can be as detailed and customized as we want it to be. It's not in operation right now, and it's not built to be customized for the Chelmsford Planning Board business. That would all be done when it gets into the queue. So like I said, let me look into it, update you accordingly on the 8th. And that likely, it's only a matter of time before we are in the queue and it is implemented. And that likely will serve exactly the purpose you're looking for. And it will not only serve staff for a checklist, but the board will be able to look at it behind, back of the house. And it will likely collectively, really serve to create some systematic kind of consistency.
That's great. So it looks like we're moving forward with it. And Deidre, hopefully if we continue to be persistent, and we'll be moving forward. Obviously, we can see even from tonight, there's just things that are slipping through the cracks, Evan, and I know that we're working on it, and I hope that,
Yeah, so I know we'll talk about this in more detail on the 8th. I think what Deidre is referring to is like board business, staff business as it pertains to regulatory permitting. I just don't want that to be confused with the hiccups associated with live Zoom meetings and hybrid meetings.
No, I'm definitely not mentioning.
Okay, because I know tonight, we still have some audio, video, there's still some, other miscellaneous issues. If we're able to focus our energies on, learning more about the online permitting system and what kind of capabilities and opportunities it can provide, then I think we'll all have something to, collectively work towards that just benefits everybody that's involved.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you. All right. Go ahead.
I have them.
And motion to adjourn.
I have a couple issues.
Yes, please.
Thank you. The first one is, I would like to request that we as a board request the water department, fire department, and any other appropriate entities that provide us inputs to specify NRTL approved devices as opposed to UL approved devices. UL is only one of the suppliers that approves equipment, and by specifying UL, they are in essence regulating a preferred supplier. And I think that's inappropriate.
All electrical devices have to be UL listed.
No, they have to be NRTL listed.
Okay.
UL is only one of the nationally recognized test labs.
You're talking smoke detector devices and everything else.
Yeah, that's
I think you're making a mistake.
okay.
That's my opinion.
Well, the question is, do our inspectors recognize the other nationally recognized test labs?
I am an inspector.
I get it.
Well, you
Do
brought
you?
up the topic. Let's take a look at it, and maybe we can discuss it next time around after we look at it a little bit better. How's that sound? Anything else, Nance? You had one more?
Yeah, I had another question. Evan had sent us something from the select board that referenced an action on their part or a goal on their part that involved us, and I was hoping that he could give us some background on that.
Do you all right with it tonight, or you all right with talking at it next meeting?
I'm okay with it next
I
meeting,
will
but I
note-
would like to know what it's
I will
about.
note that he did forward that to the master plan committee as well.
Excellent.
So-
So maybe,
so-
Evan, we can talk about that next
Yeah.
meeting as well, if that's okay? And Erica, I apologize. I didn't realize, I apologize, I didn't call on you because I'm just seeing your name on the Zoom now. So,
Oh, no worries. I was all good.
okay, all right, thank you. Mike?
Well, I would like to make a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourn. Second.
Thank you. Thank you all. Deidre, drive
And
safe.
there's even time.
Have a good night.